go away and get my Africa stone with the incense and the trees. It's right by the steps. Go do something really useful. Go get it, sister. Greetings and welcome to Chant a Psalm a Day. This is the day that the Most High has made. The Most High, that is righteousness, mercy, compassion. This is the day that has made. And we will rejoice in this day. We will rejoice in this day. Excuse me, I need to get some air. It's hot. We will rejoice in this day. So as we chant a psalm a day, I want to preface this psalm with early this rise. Early this rise, my dad passed, and I'm prefacing it with that because it is a hard transition for my mom, my family, and all my loved ones. So in this psalm today, it is for my dad. It's for my dad, this psalm. I will recount righteousness's wonderful works. I will recount righteousness's wonderful works. That's the title of the psalm today. It is a psalm of David, and it is to the choir master. And the beginning verse is about what I will do, especially in this time of our loss. I will give thanks to righteousness with a full heart, full of righteousness, full of goodness and mercy, compassion, long suffering, integrity, respect, honesty, authenticity. I am laying it out there. So that is the fullness. I will recount all of the wonderful works of the Most High. That is righteousness. I will be glad and exult in righteousness. I will chant to the name of righteousness. The righteousness is Most High. The breeze is blowing the trees' hairs, So I know when I chant a psalm, even in my pain and even in the adversities that I am faced with, I still have to give thanks to righteousness. Verse 3, when thy enemies turn away, thy enemies stumble and perish before the presence of righteousness. Because the enemies are wrongness. They can't stand around righteousness. So they're going to turn away and stumble. Verse 4, for righteousness have maintained I and I just cause, and have set righteousness on a throne, giving righteous judgment. Right? Verse 5, righteousness have rebuked the nations and have made the wicked perish, and have blotted out the wicked's name for all time to come. Verse 6, the enemy came to an end in ruins. Their cities is in ruins. If you look at them, they're rooted out. The very memory of them gone, right? But the memory of my dad will always live, always. Verse 7, righteousness sits enthroned for all time to come. Because righteousness is on a throne, okay? It's represented as Selassie the first on this throne with Empress Men is represented that way. Some people is represented as Buddha. Some people is represented as Allah. Some people is represented in lots of different ways. Okay? However, it still remains the same righteousness that sits enthroned for all time to come. That's just a natural, reality. And righteousness established that throne for justice. Because that's what righteousness is justice. When there's injustice, righteousness makes it justice. That's where that justice come from. When black people in America was treated unjustly, they were ones who came and spoke for righteousness, non-violent righteousness. We ain't gonna beat you up. We're gonna stand together in righteousness because we want justice. That is what verse 7 is talking about. So verse 8, righteousness judges the world, with righteousness. It's not going to judge the world with wrongness. It's going to judge it with righteousness, goodness. Because righteousness judges the people with uprightness. Because people are upright. They don't walk and slither. They stand on their feet and they upright. That's why they shape like a letter I. They are I. And when you put them together with ones, it's I and I. It's all of I and I are part and parcel of our behavior. We are reaping all of it because we all share that common humanity. And verse 9, righteousness is a stronghold for the oppressed. What did I just talk about in verse 7 and 8? What black people, they were oppressed, right? Yes. The Native Americans were oppressed. They were annihilated. Some of their tribes gone out of existence, extinct, no more to be heard. So righteousness is a stronghold in times of trouble. I am in trouble here now because now there's a big loss in my heart for my dad who is no longer with us physically. He's transitioned on. So in verse 10, those who know righteousness' name put their trust in righteousness. That's where they trust. So I go trust in righteousness to know everything will be all right. It's going to be all right. For righteousness have not forsaken those who seek righteousness. So that's what I'm seeking. I even said it in a psalm. I seek after righteousness like you're a crackhead. You go after anything that's righteous. Oh, let me open the door for this. Oh, let me be kind to this. Let me share this with this person. Oh, let me be compassionate to this person. Let me try to lift this person up. Let me do, what I'm talking about? So this is what you seek. You seek for righteousness and goodness. But we're so distracted in the world with all of this noise of the internet, social media. Yeah, I go live. But when I go live, I'm not shaking my ass for money. I'm not going live showing my private areas of my body. I'm going live to send a message out there because the time has come. It has come for people to wake up and try to seek for righteousness. So in verse 11, it tells I and I how to do that. We're going to chant. We're going to chant. We're going to chant to righteousness. That's what we're going to do. We're going to chant to righteousness. Because righteousness sits enthroned in happiness. They don't call it Zion, they call it heaven, but it's a happy place. People say you have to leave here physically to get to it. Some people do. They're not happy while they're here and they end up having to leave. You check. We are to be happy. We are to create little happy places. Okay? Because there is a heaven on earth. There is hell as well. I saw it when I went San Francisco to California. I saw hell on earth when I went to San Francisco in California. So the heaven on earth that we talk about is happiness, that you are happy. Your happiness brings you healthiness. So tell people righteous works. Tell people of the righteous works of happiness, of compassion, of mercy. Okay? There's so many Bible stories about compassion and mercy and righteousness that is too many to name. When I was young, I wanted to go into acting. I wanted to act the Bible stories. I said, this is what I wanted to act. But I ended up on, ABC, All My Children. And guess what? I realized this was fake. This is foolishness. Foolish. It is not real. What's real is righteousness, compassion, putting that out there in stories, showing that to children, giving that to children so they have and the knowledge of what good is. Good is all these things. It's reading, it's paying attention, it's listening, it's painting, it may be, playing on the playground and helping a friend up when they fall. It's that. It's all of that. So in verse 12, righteousness avenges blood. Righteousness is the one that avenges blood and is mindful of people who seek after righteousness, okay, and does not forget the cry of the afflicted. So my family is crying, they're moaning, they're weeping. Your cries is not going to be forgotten. It's not going to be forgotten, okay? Be gracious to I and I, all of I and I who are now mourning the loss of Kalisua, my dad, okay, our hero. Our hero. So be gracious. I ask in righteousness to see I and I affliction from those who don't love I, and lift I and out from the gates of death, that I may recount all your beautiful chanting of music and Isis, that in the gates of the daughter of happiness, I gonna rejoice, I and I may rejoice in the future of that's gonna be bright and blessed and good, and it's gonna be merciful. Verse 15, the nations, this America I'm talking about, this Babylon, have sunk in the pit that they made. Okay, this is verse 15. This is not my words. This is the words of the scripture. Okay, the same scripture that was used to enslave is now using to free. Check it out. How interesting is that? So verse 15, the nations have sunk in the pit that they made. In the net that the nations hid, their own foot has been caught. Okay? Look at what's going on in the nations. It speaks volumes. It speaks volumes. So the pit that the nations made is to enslave people, okay? All people, it ain't matter what color, white, black, Chinese, to enslave people. So in verse 16, righteousness has made righteousness' self known and has executed judgment. The wicked now is snared in the work of their own hands. Hegayan Selah. That's what it says in verse 16 at the end, Selah. I didn't put it there. Selah. So good work, so righteousness. Use your hands for that. Not playing violent video games. Kill him, kill him, kill him. What is that? No. Use your hands for good works. Because when you put your hand to wickedness, you're going to be snared in the same wickedness you're putting yourself in. It's not good, because verse 17 now, the wicked shall return to hellfire, and all the nations that forget righteousness. Righteousness, I'm telling you, is going to exalt a nation. You could call it God, Lord, Jesus, Jehovah, Selassie the First, the Almighty, Most High, Omnipotent, Kadamawi, all these names, Emmanuel, the triune God, all of this. You could call all of it what you want. But when you forget what's behind those names is righteousness. When you forget that, you done, nation. And you haven't been righteous. You haven't given reparations to black people. You haven't given reparations to black folks. Why me as a black person have to pay for my education? I should get it for free because of the ancestral heritage that I have been, just aligned with without, come on. I didn't even know I was black growing up here in the St. John until I left and went to the US and worked for Cosmo magazine. That's when I found out I was black and I had to sit in the back of the bus. So, in verse 18, the needy shall not always be forgotten, and the hope of the poor shall not perish forever, for all time. Tell Kalisa I need to go because I got go. Unless I walk down there, but if she could move out so I could go, please. So, verse 19. Arise, O righteousness. Let not man prevail. Let the nations be judged before righteousness. Put the nations in fear, O righteousness. Jah, Rastafari, Selassie the first. Blessed name of God, Lord and Jesus. Quake down fire. Let the nations know that they are just mere humans. Selah and Selah again.
Selah.
Selah. The word of the day today is ready. The word today is ready. I am ready to welcome righteousness is good in I and I life. So let's welcome righteousness into I and I life. Let's welcome it there. The word today speaks. In the past, I have missed out on opportunities for growth, for fellowship, or having fun because I shrank from life or felt undeserving of my good. Sometimes we feel that way, right? As I have grown righteous in righteousness and deepened in standing firm in that righteousness of oneness with that righteousness, I see I and I self as a righteous being. That's all that comes out. When someone attacks me, I stay in righteousness. I do not engage in the wrong argument back and forth. You know what I'm talking about? And my dad said that he don't engage in them kind of communication. People disagree or they have their own opinions. He don't engage in that. And so I see I myself as a righteous being, fully human and fully divine. Yes, I'm human. I got bathed. My son say I sweating and stinking. So I'm human, right? But I'm also fully divine. And through that awareness of that duality coming in a harmonious way, I now feel willing to receive the many bless of righteousness with a happy, grateful heart. Because that's what the psalm just mentioned, that happy is what they call Mount Zion, or heaven, or, above the heavens. That's with a happy, grateful heart. Now, when opportunities arise to have a grander experience of life, I am ready. The impulse to try new things, to grow, is divinely inspired. When I answer the call, I am indicating my readiness to live and love more fully, to partake of all life has to offer, and to grow ever closer to righteousness. So that is the word today, and it's supported by Matthew 24, verse 42. Keep awake, therefore, for you do not know on what day Righteousness is coming. Okay? Keep awake, for you do not know on what day your righteousness is coming. Keep awake. And that's what I just spoke about, that we people have to wake up. Remember, I said that in the beginning of this psalm. And as we end the word of the day, it speaks that truth. Keep awake. Keep awake. Be aware of your surroundings. Keep awake of what you are taking into your mind, your body, and into your life. Okay? Keep awake about that. I have learned the hard way, and I am still learning in that process. So as we look at the verse today, let's see what the verse of the day brings us. The verse of the day is coming from, one of my favorite books, Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20 to 21. Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20 to 21. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than all we ask or imagine, according to righteousness's power that is at work within I and I, to righteousness be glory in the church and in I and I, throughout all generations, for all time to come. Selah. So this is Ephesians chapter 3, verse 20 to 21. When we look at according to righteousness's power that is at work within. So righteousness is working within you. That's why you don't hear this voice telling you to do the right thing, right? Like, you don't know. That is what that is. That's that righteousness within you that's working. And that reality is coming from the glory of the Most High. That is righteousness. So to righteousness be the glory. Okay? In the church, in the school, in the home, in every aspect of society, let righteousness be the glory. And in righteousness throughout all generations. Okay? That you suffer for righteousness. You have that long suffering. That's what that is. You're not quick to get instant gratification. That's what the world is about. When you don't get an instant gratification, you're upset, you're angry, you're road raging, you're in this place of not a good space. So what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? You embrace that righteousness within. Embrace it within. And know that you are not without. Okay? People pass. My son passed in 2023. Now my dad, just this rise. Just this rise. All right? Everybody grieves differently. And I grieved in instantly. I refused to believe it. Instantly, I refused to believe it. I said, no, Daddy, don't go. And I heard a voice. And that voice was, I'm already gone. I'm free. I'm in the bosom of Abraham. So I went and told my mom this. And comforted her. And then I had to go into deep communication to ask for more strength for my mom. Because I was strengthened with the past of my son, my first birth. That was sort of a buffer for me today now with my dad. Okay, my younger sister is, it's going to be hard. I know, because I went through it with my first son. So as we end the psalm today, I give thanks for this day. This day is going to be a day of rejoicing and giving of thanks. In all the adversity, the pain, the suffering, the sorrow, the loss, we have gained something very valuable. And what we have gained is the knowledge that we still are here to do good. We still can do some good, some little good in some way we can do. Okay? So as I go and I weep, I'm going to allow myself to weep. I'm going to allow myself to scream, to cry. I'm going to allow myself that moment to get it out of me so I could be able to be strong for the coming days ahead. So that's where I'm going to go now. You can send your words of bless and thankfulness and kindness. You can send them this way over here on St. John, Love City, where my dad and his family grew up and lived and have a legacy, a heritage over 300 years on St. John. So thank you for joining Chant Day. Have a blessed day, everyone. And remember, we are all coming together. We are all, I don't want to use the word connected, we are all together. So give thanks and have a blessed day, everyone. Have a blessed day. And that's part of grieving. You're gonna blame someone. So I blame in America right now. That's who I'm going through, that grieving process of blaming. That's who I'm gonna blame. So I'm thankful, and we're gonna move forward in this Iowa to give thanks. I asked to get my wrap from over here. You bring it in. Have a blessed day, everyone.